Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a story about a friendship that took a turn when a favor was taken for granted. After a friend asked to borrow a tablet, the OP offered a basic old one, knowing she couldn't afford to lend out her new device. However, her friend's entitled attitude and lack of gratitude turned the situation into an uncomfortable moment. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. How I learned the hard way not to lend anything to a friend who doesn't appreciate it. I was made redundant just after going on maternity leave. As I don't have a job to go back to and not much energy to do the whole job hunting thing, someone decided it would be nice for me to have a new tablet, especially as my laptop was starting to act up. Someone I'd been good friends with for just over 10 years, who we'll call Sam, posted on Facebook that their laptop had caught fire, and being unemployed, they couldn't afford a new one. They asked if anyone could lend them an old laptop in the meantime. I told Sam that my laptop was unavailable as it has a ton of private stuff on it, but if they just needed to get online to check for jobs and emails, they could borrow my other tablet. I said it was a basic entry-level Android, but it did the basics, including Netflix. So Sam accepted, and we agreed to meet up in town that afternoon. After we did the usual "Hi, how are you?" I brought out the tablet. A look of dismay crossed Sam's face. "It's much smaller than I expected." Sam turned over the tablet and looked at the bright blue cover. "Is this a kid's tablet?" "No, I told you it was a cheap one I picked up for traveling." Disappointed noises as Sam started switching it on. "This is a bit slow. Wait, what the hell is this?" "The setup screen. I restored it to factory settings for you so you could put your own stuff on there." "So all your stuff is gone?" "Yes." "Can you download and log into Netflix for me before you go?" "Nope, not even a please." "No. Why not?" "Because my partner and my mom asked nicely if they can use it, and I don't want to be locked out if too many people are using it." "Do you even have time to watch it with a baby?" "This thing is so slow, it's still trying to set itself up." "Once in a while, do you still want the tablet?" Yes, I suppose. It's better than nothing." Cue another distasteful look at the blue one. "I would rather borrow your new one, to be honest. It was a gift less than a month ago, so no. But I would take good care of it. I'm not lending you a brand new tablet that costs 400 pounds. Please, I can't afford a new one." "You know full well that I lost my job a few months ago and I can't afford stuff either. I'm offering you the blue one. Take it or leave it." "Fine," exclaimed Sam, like they were doing me a favor and not the other way around. "I'll take it for now. Thanks, I suppose." I was quite annoyed, especially at the lack of please or sincere thank you from someone I regarded as a friend, and I was somewhat relieved that she then cut the meeting short. I wandered off to do some shopping before meeting my partner at the bus stop after he finished work. I know Sam has a lot of other stuff to deal with right now, so I promised myself that if she apologized for her attitude, I'd forgive her. Imagine my surprise when I saw not just him, but also Sam at the bus stop. Sam went pale as I approached. "Hey, I was just about to call you. Sam was just telling me about how you agreed to lend her your tablet. She asked if she could come over to collect it." "Sorry, what?" "She said that you agreed to lend her your tablet." "And I gave it to her about an hour ago." I can't quite remember the rest of the conversation from that point as I was too appalled. She apparently thought she would get away with it as she knew I was going to be busy for the rest of the day. I was so angry we just got back on the bus when it arrived, and I forgot to ask for the blue one back. We're no longer friends. Edit. After talking to a few other people, it seems that I'm very lucky that I only gave her a cheap tablet. Sam's been getting very behind on rent, money, and other bills, and a few people suspect she's been trying to pawn stuff off people who've lent her long term. We have no proof, but some of these people would have just lent her the money if she asked. Oh well, lesson learned. Wow, she wanted to go behind your back to your partner and take it before you could do anything about it? What a stink bug. The case of the dry pheasant and the vanishing red wine. It took place some time ago. My parents run a hotel with a kitchen. There are a lot of choosing beggars here, as there are in all restaurants. This one evening, I was working as a waitress to help out at the diner when two women walked in. After I sat them down, they ordered the pheasant. I think that's the right word for it. Yes, we do serve this kind of food. It's a dish for two people to share. They ordered a whole bottle of very pricey red wine to drink. I brought them drinks and then their food, and that's where it all began. After they started to eat, they called me to say they didn't like the food. They said they couldn't eat the pheasant because it was too dry and cooked too long. I told them nicely that the pheasant wasn't overdone and that this kind of bird, like a duck, tends to be dry. It comes with a sauce that you have to eat it with. They wouldn't have it. They kept complaining and I gave up. I took the almost unused, perfectly good pheasant back to the kitchen where my dad and I tried it later. My mother's the cook, so of course she was mad when I told her, but she couldn't do anything else. Two women came in and ordered something new. They both chose fish because the meat was so bad at our place. Then they drank almost the whole bottle of red wine while they waited for their food. Everything was fine when I brought the fish to their table, but then one of them got up, went to the bar where my dad was working, and told him to take back the almost empty bottle of red wine because it doesn't go well with fish. My dad was shocked when he saw the bottle and told them they could get white wine instead, but they'd still have to pay for the red. Not at all. Not with that woman. She said they went with the red wine because of the pheasant, but since it was so bad, they had the fish instead. They wanted their money back for the bottle. My dad told her that the wine was fine, so she couldn't get her money back. He also asked why they hadn't given the red wine back with the pheasant at the start instead of drinking most of it. This question made the woman even more angry because she didn't have a good answer. Then she asked for the white wine to be given away for free as a way of making up for the trouble with the pheasant. My dad said no and told them that he had already returned the pheasant, who was fine, and that they got their new meals as quickly as possible, which was all they could have asked for. She tried to fight some more, but the noise she made annoyed the other guests. When she realized she wasn't getting anywhere, she stomped off to her table. They finished their meals, which they couldn't find anything wrong with, and then gave us angry looks, didn't leave a tip, and then wrote a bad review. Later, my dad told me and the other waiters that if these two people ever came back to the restaurant, we should tell them that we are no longer serving them. They never did, thank goodness. Wow. The audacity. It's one thing to not enjoy a meal. Taste is subjective after all. But the level of pettiness these two women reached is almost impressive. Complaining about a perfectly good meal, downing nearly a full bottle of wine, and then trying to weasel out of paying for it because red doesn't go with fish. That's a new level of nerve. Your dad handled the situation with impressive patience. The fact that they still had the audacity to leave a bad review after being accommodated so generously is maddening. Good riddance to those two. Your family definitely doesn't need customers like that in the future. And our last story. How my dad took revenge on a couple who thought they could disrespect our island. This happened a couple years ago at my parents' cottage. The cottage community used to be pretty sparsely populated and felt pretty remote. Back in the 60s when my dad was a kid. These days, though, it's completely built up and feels more like a subdivision with water between the houses instead of roads. A sunny summer Saturday can get really busy. My dad, however, still likes to go up there for a quiet, relaxing experience, something that's still only kind of possible because their place is on a tiny little island to itself. Lots of boats go by out in the open water, but they don't come in close, so it's not much of a bother. Then one day, my parents, myself, and one of their friends are sitting on the dock enjoying their beer as afternoon turns to evening when they see a couple in a pontoon boat pull around the point of the island, trolling along the waterline. This happens sometimes, and it isn't a big deal so long as people are respectful. These two were not. As they get closer and closer to the dock, it becomes clear that they just don't give a crap, completely oblivious to our stunned silence right beside them. After the initial shock wore off, my dad stands up and says, "A little closer, aren't you, fellas?" The wife, Karen, just sneers at him, gives him the finger, and yells, "It's a free lake, isn't it?" By this point, they're already rolling past, getting further away from the dock. My dad was pretty annoyed, but that could have been the end of it. That is, until Karen's husband decided that he would throw his empty beer bottle into the lake. Now, my dad likes his privacy, but he also loves the natural beauty of this place. One time when we were younger, some company of young, drunk guys decided it'd be smart to throw their empties at a nearby rock outcropping to see if they could hit it. Surprise, they could. And they had some really idiotic drunken fun until my dad came down and unleashed a fury upon them, the likes of which I'd never seen. Long story short, they spent the next week or so picking shards of broken glass out of those rocks by hand. When Karen's husband threw the bottle in the lake, my dad became committed to his revenge. Without a word, he walked over to our big steel boat. Not exactly like this, but close, quite the beast by this lake standards, untied it and hopped in. I jumped in at the last minute just to make sure he didn't get his butt kicked or something. But to my surprise, he didn't go over there to give them a piece of his mind. He adjusted the speed and trim of his boat to make the biggest waves possible and started driving circles around the couple. Pontoon boats are pretty nifty, but they aren't exactly seafaring vessels designed for big waves. They got absolutely swamped. Not to mention the fright it must have given any nearby fish. They were yelling and cursing at us, waving their arms for us to slow down. After a few more circles, my dad slowed down enough to hear them. "What the F, man? F off." My dad just smiled at them. "Hey, it's a free lake, isn't it?" They just grumbled, flipped us off again, and took off. We followed them for a bit, but once they were a kilometer or so from our island, we peeled off and went home to enjoy the rest of our evening in peace. Edit. To those concerned about the safety of the circling maneuver, I should have specified that he was decently far away. They got their feet wet, maybe ruined a pack of cigarettes or something. But there was never any danger to either boat or any of the people in them. Was it illegal? I don't know, probably. Is my dad an a-hole? Generally no, but he certainly can be. I never claimed he was 100% in the right. After all, aren't we here for a bit of pettiness? Nobody seems to be mentioning that it's totally illegal to drink and boat in Ontario. Water on the water, beer on the pier. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.